you can discern when an information is true, because it speaks of oneness. It's not division. And every day that you are choosing light, every day is a confirmation. So it's not that you decided one day you are a being of light and then every day you will be perfect and you can do whatever. It's just a constant work on yourself. And
well, welcome once again to Raising the Consciousness of Humanity. I have a special guest that I'm getting ready to introduce, but I want to start off first with questions around if you're listening to this message, have you ever been drawn to those three special stars in the sky known as the Orion's Belt? Something that's drawn your eyes to look at those in the sky and wonder, do you have a connection with them? Or maybe the word Orion resonates with you in a certain way. Or maybe you're just wondering why the pyramids of Giza are aligned with those stars. Well, today I am fortunate to have a special guest. Her name is Laurienit. Also, her Earth name is Rebecca, but I love to call her by her soul name, which is Laurienit. And she is a starseed that has many awakened memories from her soul mission and her connection, her multidimensional connection with Orion's Belt and the legacy of Orion's Belt. And she's also an artist. So she's able to not only take all this visionary experience, all this experience within her soul, but she's able to put that art into forms of these galactic beings that she shares a connection with, as well as sacred geometry. And she even has the knowledge of what we call light language. So if you've heard light language before, she also has the gift being able to share a little bit about light language. And I was on a workshop that she led about a year ago. It was through Portal of Ascension. If you know Neil Gar, who runs that, he's an amazing person. He's done so much with that. But Laurienit taught a special class about the legacy of the Orion's Belt, and I happened to listen to and be part of it a year ago. So blessed to be there. And then just recently, about a month ago or so, I was in Italy, where Laurienit lives, and I was able to meet with her and have coffee. It was like a soul connection, a reunion to be together. So Laurienit, thank you so much for being here. And please start off with your introduction of your awakening. Like, if you can share with the audience from that perspective.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Thank you so much for having me here and for inviting me and for coming to Italy.
Yes.
It's been a soul reunion. Yeah, where to start? I always had clear memories of my past life since I was a little kid, but I didn't fully understood what I was seeing. So I can describe a linear human time where I actually reconnect with my star family and star origins, and where they contact me for the first time in a conscious way. And so I always describe that moment as the beginning of my awakening, even though I'm sure it was started way before that moment. But in my 17 years old, I was 17. I'm a Virgo, so I was born into the 2 of September. So that summer of my 17 years old, I was about to have 18 years old. And that summer, a normal night, was a normal day with my mom. I grew up with a single mom, so I was living with her. She was cooking dinner. We lived in the first floor, so with a garden, and because of the weather, that was warm weather, it was all closed. You know, the door, the window were closed because in this way it's not so hot. So I remember that we have opened the window but closed the curtain. You call, how you say, the
curtain, the
in English.
blinds. Yeah.
Okay. So she could not saw in any ways what was outside our home. So in that moment when she was cooking, I go out to walk my dogs, 2 dogs, and at the time I remember it was a stressful moment. So we don't have many you know, our channel was not so open as it is right now. So in that moment, we were with all kind of 3D thoughts, and we were just going out of a difficult, stressful moment, economical moment, 3D difficulties, and because my mom was alone, so of course she did her best, but you know, 3D life. So in that moment, she was cooking. I go with my 2 dogs, and in the parking outside our home, I look at the sky. It was a pinky sky at the sunset, and I remember to saw these thousand and thousand of objects, boomerang shaped object that looked like a flock of birds. You know, for how many they were. So they stayed for something like 2-3 minutes, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a few seconds. I don't have the time perception, but they stay for a moment and they disappear altogether. And I remember to be that I was shocked, and to have felt this huge love and this huge emotion in my heart and my solar plexus, as they usually communicate with me with the solar plexus. And I felt like overwhelmed by this love and these memories, like something familiar, but at the same time I was shocked. My mind could not accept. So what's happened? I go inside my home, I tell my mom, but my mom was not in a normal state. She was in a trance state, and she was channeling in front of me for the very first time in my life. I saw her doing this, and she was channeling a message for them, by them. So they take my mom to deliver the message, and they called me for the first time Laurienit, Laurienit, and they said, we are here, we are above your home. Sorry for disturb your hurt mom, but we need to deliver you the message. It's very important that you remember, and that you start to remember why you're here, and your mission can be activated again. And also they describe in this message that I think I still have this message in a paper, and my mom was very fast. So I remember that she also painted the shape of the objects. So long story short, she wake up for this trance state, and she didn't remember anything, but she could never, there was no way she could saw what was outside, where I saw him, where I saw this, because our home was located in a way that in a position that can watch to another part, okay, of the parking. So where I was, it was a bit far, and you cannot see because there are a few homes in front of our house. There was a few homes in front of our old house, so she could not saw what I saw, and so for me it was a confirmation, because my mind still needed confirmation at the time, and for me it was also a shock, because
Sure.
when you interact with those dimension, it's like you cannot go back.
Yeah.
Okay, when you enter the portal and you saw them, or you saw and later I've met them physically and energetically in the astral, but also physically. So when I received these like activation, that's when all start. So everything started there, like a sci-fi movie. Everything happened since that day, and our life would never be the same. But I remember that they also contact me in this message. They told me that it was because I need help to not help, but I need support to manage my energy, because at the time we, of course, I didn't realize it was all linked, but I had this problem that every electrical device with me didn't function or explode or cause electromagnetic problem or trouble, and the internet connection was not okay, stuff like that. So they were like concerned for me that I can cause problem to my body because of my energy, and because my energy just recently awakened was not balanced. So I can cause to my body. In fact, I have different problem issues, health issues, very weird that doctor could not describe. And then few years later, I also discovered to have an unknown genetic syndrome, mutation caused by a gene that is unknown on Earth. So probably they try to help me manage my difference, genetic, also. And this is a known disease, genetic disease, rare genetic syndrome, but the gene in specific that I had is unknown. So that gene that caused it there are, I think, 12 types, but mine is the only one that is unknown. So it was very funny, but we only discovered this years later. At the time, I thought that it was all separated. I think these things were not related. So I was a kid that had a weird fever, a high fever, and then all disappear, and I will go back to normal. Or I had a weird allergy, like some kind of reaction to an infection, but there was no infection in my body. So they called, how you say in English? There is a name for that. Mastocyte.
Okay.
That is the activation to an allergy.
It's like an autoimmune symptom
No.
in a way.
Yeah, it's similar, but I have no autoimmune reaction. But it's similar because it's like something attacked a foreign, something foreign, like no. So probably it was my energy, my soul, that it was not balanced, because all this effect in my body. In fact, when I learn how to balance, all these weird symptoms disappeared. So it was, and in my life I have to stay caution to have to say, how you say, to, I don't know, sorry, my Italian
That's
is
okay.
interfering my communication. I have to stay to take care of this, because when my emotions are too strong, I do have, or I may have some weird how you say, weird effect with my body, like fever or stuff like that. It still happens, especially after a long conference or long downloads. I do have fever, or but now I accept it. It's like my body, my human dress needs time to adjust
Sure.
with my soul.
Do you
So
find grounding, like physical grounding, is something that helps you?
yeah, completely, especially dance. When I was a teenager, I started to dance, Latin
Yep.
dance, any kind of dance. And that helped me to channel the energy. So move the energy, don't get stuck in the
Yep.
body. But before, I saw that it was very difficult to balance the energy.
Okay.
But that was the start. These beings presented themselves and said, "We are beings from Orion's Belt. We are your star people." And they said, "Our name is Neteru," that means guardians or watchers. And I never heard about that before that message. And of course, because I was a Virgo mind, very skeptic, my mind, my human mind, so skeptic, I started to search and Google, and I found out that actually Neteru exists, and they were these figures that lived in Egypt long time ago. So there was a description of when they come to Egypt, when they left, and they were described as gods, but also they were described like coming from, they say that they were coming from the Orion's belt. So there was a correlation, and I started in the first years, I started to elaborating all of this information. Orion beings are very slow, so they prepare me in a way that was respectful for me. They started with little tiny manifestation, like showing up in the sky, and then even though the first one was huge, the other later were very, very slow and respectful. And the weird thing was that every time they appear above our house, the electrical devices start to ring, like, you know, the timer of the oven. And it was like a movie. It was so funny, but because I think their electromagnetic fields interfere with it. But for me, it was their way to say, okay, we are here, go outside and watch the sky. So it was a very friendly, way to approach. But they also have rules, like no interfering rules.
Non-interference.
Yeah, wise beings who deeply care of our process and our time, our 3D times. So if I have to confront with other beings that I've encountered, or people that I know that have other star beings contact, I can say that Orion is definitely the less funny, because even though they have a sense of humor, they're very warm and entities. they are very slow, so they want you to do the work. They don't
Yeah.
give you answer just to give you answer for the ego or for the mind. They want you to have a lesson in everything. So it was a very frustrating for me, the awakening moment. You asked me about how was my awakening. It was very stressful, very
Mm.
horrible. It was horrible. I remember to be in war with everything. Like I feel like a volcano of energy. I want to know everything in once. And they were very patient and say, we cannot tell you everything, otherwise you would not absorb uh, the meaning. So step by
Oh,
step,
wow.
time will adjust and have faith. They always use
Yeah.
faith. And I was so mad. I remember to have even tried to um like I was having conversation with them, and when I've met them,
Mm.
I remember once I actually how you say uh have an argument with them,
Mm.
having an
Argument. Yeah.
argument alone, because they were very calm and peaceful, and I was like, but if you can do everything, if you can change time and space, why do not interfere with my life? My life is a mess. And they say, if your life is a mess, it's because you have to learn by this mess
Mm.
why you're here, the lesson you decided before to coming here. And there is a reason. It will not always be, it will not forever be like that. Have faith. But at the moment, I was a teenager, so I
Yeah.
questioned their authority. And I remember that now I can deeply understand them. Like now I feel like them when new awakened people start to do this question to me, and they say, but if they're here, why don't do that? Or,
Mhm.
they do me this example. And I felt exactly how I think how they must felt in that moment. I want to help the person, but I cannot interfere. So
Yeah.
I try to do the same things that these beings done with me. Being patient, tell 50% of what I know, to not cause problems or interfere with the life of the
Sure.
person. So now
That
I deeply understand that.
and that makes complete
And
sense too. I mean,
yeah, and
part part of the
I have
reason why we're
stories.
here is to learn and grow. So that makes complete sense. And I think I remember way back when I was a kid receiving some sort of like message, you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. And it
Yeah,
was, other than that, just go out and play, But go ahead. I
it's
didn't mean to
very,
cut you off. Yeah.
yeah. And so, yeah, this was my awakening, but it was not all funny. But also, we have problem with military, because at the time we were uh, moving a lot of energy around our house. So imagine this ship go back and forth,
Mm.
and uh, manifestation, of course. And now I know, but I have to learn. I had to learn myself that when they show up, there is a signature, electromagnetic signature that
Hmm.
they release, and that we release as with our Merkaba, you call
Hmm.
it,
Yep.
the energy field. So a contactee or a starseed, how you want to call, is able to produce this column of energy, this calling, like an antenna, and they can see with some instrument that we are communicating with these beings. And so they also see the huge energy that produce being surrounded by the ships, these UFO, UAP. how, how they call it.
Yeah.
And I
Oh, you froze for a little bit. I think you're
I
coming
lost
back.
you.
Yeah, you're back online now. You froze for a little bit there.
Okay.
So you were
I
saying,
go,
and you said they were aware. Was you said the military were?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they realized that every time there was a manifestation, um, we realized that every time that there was a manifestation like UFO, UAP showing in the sky, this
Maybe
I
they're not.
lost you.
Maybe they're not wanting this part to be shared.
No, I don't share. Or maybe our energy, I don't know. Look, never happens. Really,
Yeah.
it never happens to keep back and forth. Never.
Yeah.
But you have any warning information in your Zoom?
No. I just see that you disappear. You freeze for a moment
Me
and then you
too.
disappear and then you come back.
Same. Yeah, same. I don't know what's happened. Yeah. Maybe I will skip that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every, so every time we have weird, let's try again. Every
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
we have UFO sightings, we
Yeah.
have black helicopter in our home, above our home. So our life starts to become like a sci-fi movie, and we have people coming outside the job of my mom, the place of my mom work. She was a teacher. She passed in 2021, but she
Sorry to
was
hear that.
a yeah, thank you. She was a teacher, and so in front of her school there was this man, military people in suit that appear outside, or black suit,
Mm.
that appear outside her work. So then this happened around our home, around the people we've met at the time. So people starting to, laugh, and they didn't believe it was true until they come to our home. Some, UFO sightings. They assist some UFO sightings, and then later this military followed them home. So my friends start to realize that it was all true.
Mm.
At the time, I don't overshare this part of my life. I was with a small circle, just few trusted people know about it, and I live a very lonely life until my 25.
Hmm.
I never share public this information. The first time I shared it, it was at my 25, in a Italian conference, for CUFOM.
Hmm.
There is a ufologic group of
Yep.
Italy, and I decided to accept an invite by a friend of mine who speak about our story, with the president of
Hmm.
this organization, ufological group, and they come to, see if I was crazy or not. They come to test me because in Italy they are very, very skeptic. So uh, there are more, the ufology community, the ufological community is more matter of fact.
Mm.
So they don't they don't care about souls or these kind of topics. They just want to know if you're mentally able to, to tell the truth, or, and they come, they ask to my neighborhood if there was actually some weird appearance, some electrical problems. They go check. in the city if everything matched my information, and they decided, okay, you can speak at our event. So at my 25, I did my first conference and I tell my story to the public. But before, until I think from 18 years old to 21, I was in the deep, deep, painful, awakening dark night of the soul. At my 29, at my 21, I started to integrate all this download information, memory of past life, all this contact start to become more and more present. And I start to have an encounter of the fifth kind, they say, when you have conscious cooperation with them and you can actually hold their energy and the frequency without having trouble with your physical body.
Yeah.
And even though you are tired after you meeting them, because the frequency is such a different frequency, they go to the 8 to the 14 dimension, has a range of energy. They interact, our energy of love, of union, manifestation. So they are very far from 3D. So it was needed to prepare my physical biological body to all this process throughout my whole life. Started from where I was, I think, in the womb. They explained to me like that they input a frequency from afar as a sound, is a technology of sounds, and this recalibrate the DNA or help the DNA to hold, our souls, our alien souls in the body, and our genetic difference. And so it's been with love, so all can work. But honestly, I have to tell, it's not a normal life. It would not ordinary. I don't think many people share this part, but I do feel it's needed. I don't know what you think, but I want to be real. It's a very, very difficult life at the beginning.
Sure.
The life of a contactee, especially with this, dimension. When you look into these eyes, immortal eyes, your life changed. You cannot forget. You cannot come back and have your whole perception of reality change, and you interface with reality in a all different way. So imagine come back to school, come back to, speaking with people, small talks. You feel so lonely. So I really have to say that it was a horrible moment. Late, when I integrate all of this information, I felt I felt myself again, and I was very relief. I feel, you say relief?
Relief. Yep.
So then it was all making sense, and I discovered that in myself I have space to hold everything, the past, all the difficulty, energetic, weird things, different, we can say different, it's a better way to describe it, different abilities that I had. So I started to develop remote viewing, weird stuff, bit of telepathy, bit of any kind of stuff. But starting from my mom, that was a medium, and she never shared this part of her life until that very first moment when she went in trance.
So you didn't know she was a medium before that?
No, my mom decided it was a good idea to hide it from me because she wants me to have a normal, how you say, a
normal life,
innocent in my to be a normal kid.
Yeah, to be a normal
To
kid. Yeah.
yeah. So she decided, okay, after that trance state things that happens, she says to me, okay, I never received anything from aliens. But I have to tell you something. I am a medium. So at my 18 years old, I remember this image of her. I lost you. You froze a bit for a moment. I
Oh,
remember. Do you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yes.
Okay. So I remember at my 18 years old, I go to a lunch with these close friends of my mom. She was Eleanor. She was a best friend, one of my mom best friends. She was from Germany, and these two women share with me like 30 years of medianic contact they had in these, like with the guide, with the spiritual team. So in some certain way, they prepare my mind to
Yeah.
accept this, even though I was very skeptic even with them at the beginning. I think, okay, it makes sense, but I really could not, or maybe I was not ready to accept it immediately, even though in my soul, I always knew.
Hmm.
But mind, the rational thinking is a all different process. So
Yeah.
I have this I had this conflict between these two parts. So that's how my awakening goes. I remember a very dark moment of my I don't remember like a good thing. But if you ask me, I will do again
Yeah.
because it was priceless, the love that I received from them. And I can never go back to a life without memory, you
Yeah.
know? So I think my soul decided to incarnate with this promise to remember, to always remember. So
Yeah.
I think I knew what was the price.
Yeah. No,
So
thank you
that
for
was
sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing all that because everything that you shared, number one, I think it's healthy to have a little bit of a skeptic mind and not just be open to everything. It makes your story, I think, even more like understandable and realistic to have those experiences and it's healthy to sometimes question, but even the fact that you've had validation in different ways, not just from the physical experience of seeing it, but energetically. And I would say even some of the things you talked about, with the genetic condition that you have, quite often starseeds do. They're somehow very sensitive too, like you are very sensitive. So I think what I would love is if you could share a little bit. I know you have a few slides there, but if you could share a little bit about the nature of the importance of the Orion Belt, I think. Perfect. So where we were, and I appreciate your story because it allows the audience to know you, to understand you. Many people that listen in, maybe even like myself, we maybe have had experiences. Maybe they were different. Maybe we might even call them paranormal, or maybe we might even call them, some sort of intuition or connection. But from what you shared, definitely you have a very big calling, and it's around service to humanity through the knowledge and the wisdom that you're sharing, especially relative to the Orion's Belt. And I know you had some slides, and I didn't know if you wanted to share them now, but that would be.
yeah, I can share it with
You should still have permission to share.
okay.
Yes, it's coming up now.
Oh, oh my gosh. What is
I don't see
happened?
them quite
From
yet.
Miss, I think
There we go.
I call updates. I call the I push the button to how you call it when you have to update the app.
Oh,
It was a
update Windows.
mistake.
I can see your
Sorry.
slides though. That's
Can I go? Let me do this. Okay.
okay.
I go out and I re-enter. Do you see? Do you still see? Okay. I share the screen again. Now it
Yep,
should happen. Okay. Oh,
there it is.
so, yes. So this is a bit of my presentation that usually I do for a conference. So just
Perfect.
people have an idea of the stars and the story of the Orion Belt. So Orion have many stars, but I have contact from the three stars that are in the belt, the Orion
Yep.
Belt, that are Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. And um, so all the ancient civilization describe this link with Orion Belt. So a lot of pyramids and ancient structure was aligned with these three stars, and especially Maya with Mexican pyramids,
Mhm.
Egyptian pyramids, um, and Chinese pyramids that are the most known to be um, aligned with the Orion's belt, but there are many, many others. So usually I don't speak a lot about these because I think there are better figures like a researcher that can do that. But it's very linked to my heart, the topic of the pyramids, because I always channeled uh, triangles and pyramids in my paintings, in my automatic channelings and
Yep.
paintings since I was a kid. So even that was a sign, a confirmation for me, because when I uh, try with my mom to go back to see my old paintings when I was a kid, I always did these weird symbols and pyramids. So that must be a sign.
Yeah.
Um, And I always do these kind of little figures
Hmm.
that represent the Orion Belt in many ancient cultures, the Orion constellation in many ancient cultures and ancient civilization represent Orion like that. So I really think it's important to share because I couldn't know how a person could know this exact representation and linked to Orion. So these are the first things that I discovered when I start to Google and look to confirm the Orion information. So every time they speak to me about something, I wanted to go check if I can prove it
Hmm.
somehow my Virgo mind. So this I think it it was needed, is how my rational mind was configured in order that one day I can share in conference this information, because I was like collecting information, didn't know why, but I knew that I had to collect all the confirmation I received by internet or research
Hmm.
or ancient texts. And now when I speak about my story, I for example, in conference, in Italy especially, because in US I can be more open, but in Italy we are very closed. There is still a dogmatic mind. So first things they want to prove. So the first thing that I show is that actually there was a civilization that come from Orion, and all the ancient civilizations speak about Orion. So that's why I shared this.
Yeah, some of those
Interesting.
images look like even from American Indian culture too.
Yeah,
Like the
here,
Hopi Indians, or
yeah, and any part of the word, and the ant or the spider you see here,
yeah,
is the Nazca line. The Nazca line who
yeah.
represents Orion. So the first thing they told me, if you remember, was the word Neteru,
Yes.
that means garden. So I start to look for these figures in the ancient Egypt, and I discovered that Manetone, a priest, described their arrival, described where they come, when they leave Earth, and exactly described that they were coming from Orion Belt. So, of course, this part of history was deleted because you have to rewrite the ancient times in Egypt, because start this civilization many years before. I think 14,000 years before Christ, and not um, um, the one. How you say in English? Oh my God. So the period they say is like, oh my gosh, Ron, I cannot translate the number.
That's okay.
Well, so way before.
Yep, way before. Yeah.
What actual history describe it. So
Yeah.
that's why the ancient pharaohs who speak about Orion, or the ancient figures in Egypt who speak about Orion, were erased. There was the Memoria that is where they delayed their existence, in the ancient times in Egypt. That damnatio memoria in Latin means
Yeah.
erase the memory. So every figure who tried to speak about Orion was erased at the time. And that's funny because Orion holds a message of coming back to the oneness. So I think the society, the system who rules Earth at the time decided it was better to hide such a message. And later, these are my channelings of their faces, their appearance.
Wow. Yeah.
So other than OP and some ancient Indian texts, but the Mahabharata and the ancient text, Indian text, Hindu, Vedic, they describe it as good people and friendly messengers, guardians. They describe it that they were people. They describe them as people who bring fruits when they visit. So that describes their nature.
Yeah.
In the Vedic text, they describe it as Gandharva, coordinate the law of balance.
Yeah.
So in the Vedic text, we have like something like three different type of beings. We have the benevolent beings. We have the beings who do their agenda, and then we have the rebels. And Orion was in those who was benevolent, and the Orion Belt beings were considered guardians, and those who, I'm so sorry for my
No, that's
Canva.
okay.
So every kind of culture described them as benevolent beings when they refer to the belt.
Mhm.
In the online community, some people ask me to describe Ron.
What?
I don't know every kind of thing.
Yeah.
There is lighting and there was a lighting and my dogs bark.
Oh, okay.
So we will cut this part. I'm
Okay.
sorry, really. And never, do you remember my last stream? Never happened.
Yeah,
This, I know our energy must be strong because I don't know.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And there's a thunderstorm out there. So let's cut this part, okay?
Yeah.
So I was saying that every ancient civilization, ancient civilization described them as guardian or benevolent beings.
Hmm.
My paintings, I because at the beginning of my connection with them, I start to receive symbols and channelings.
Yeah.
Um, and I always have this pattern that keep coming back. And one day I decided to go and look for these, and I discovered that these were called star pyramids.
Hmm.
These discovered by Basil Droge, who is a mathematic who takes like 20 years with his information from computer and images from the space to calculate the exact distance between the stars in Orion and discover that like there are no equal, even though other stars are different, have different shapes and geometrical sacred geometry configuration, other stars. But in Orion, there is this huge amount of pyramids like no others. And he, as a mathematic, recorded like this discovery has something huge. So he says, this is a design that must be drawn by someone intelligent.
Hmm.
So usually in conference, I bring this discovery to tell people, okay, actually there is other intelligence, NHI, non-human intelligence. I asked Orion, okay, this huge amount of pyramids, why I'm painting that? Why? And they say, a part is your memories, is a star maps, and one particular aspect you are trying to represent is Ra or Uru, that for Orion beings is the nebula, the Orion Nebula.
Hmm.
So my rational mind go and try to find confirmation, and with the discovery of Basil Druge, we know that all these pyramids point in the middle of the belt.
Okay.
So all this calculation we discovered, so we can now know that there is a special center in the middle of the Orion belt, and all these pyramids and inside pyramids are pointing straight to Alnilam, the star of these contacts that I have.
Hmm.
So when I discovered that, I asked them why all this you know why all this attention for the belt and why all this attention for Alnilam? It was because of you, because of the Neteru, these guardians, or what? And they answered, no, it's because of Uru, Ra, our
Mhm.
nebula, the Orion Nebula, and they consider Ra as in some culture they call Uru,
Okay.
and Orion too called him Uru or Ra. This is for them is a spirit of love, so a nursery of love, a space where the sun have been born. And
So when
in
you
my
say
painting,
when you said Ra, like the sun god, Ra?
yeah, and they said it's not the sun god Ra, but it's the creator of the suns, the Orion
Ah,
Nebula.
okay. Yep.
According to science, Ra right now is birthing like 100,000 and millions, I think, to new stars
Mm.
and sun, like our sun. And according to science, that's what I discovered that I always bring to the conference to let people know that the information I receive is not just because they want to speak about something abstract, but they also want to us to remember our origins. And they
Mm.
say it's not because of us, it's not because Orion people came from this side of the universe. It's because Ra, this nebula, created the stars and suns we know. Okay, so
Okay.
of course I have to check if this was true. And while I was preparing a conference for, like, by chance, I ended up in discovering this new recent study, scientific study, where they say we discovered the origin of life, and we knew that it's coming from Orion Belt, M42. That is what Orion people call Ra. So
Ah,
that's why,
okay.
yeah, that's why all the ancient civilization keep pointing the stars, the three stars, you know? They
Yep.
want to indicate that there is home, common home, a center where we all came from. So this entity, who is Ra, for the science, is like an incubator of life, is a nursery,
Mhm.
is producing a specific light called circular polarized light that is the responsible of life. Scientists look all over the universe to find this circular polarized light, and they find it just in M42 in the right amount, in huge
Mm.
amounts. And circular polarized light is the light who builds, you know, the structure of life, select which molecules, you know, to build
Yep.
life. So that was okay enough as a proof for me that, okay, that's why they call it the sun god Ra, not because it was a man with power, you know, but
Yeah.
because it was a or a figure or entity, but because it was a nursery that actually are birthing thousands and thousands of suns.
Mm.
And so imagine the power to create just a star or a sun. And imagine the huge amount of power that holds in this M42 nebula, Ra. And that's why some um, rebels
Yep.
decided to utilize this symbol, the eye of Ra, as a symbol of control, but not because they have this power, because it's an illusion. They could never rule this power because this power only responds to balance and love.
Mm.
But because this is the power of creation, so the power of creating suns, and they want to, you know, like affirm that is how they rule, but
Yep.
it's never been a evil message or a evil how can I say, an evil symbol. It's just sacred geometry, and people have to understand that sacred geometry is just sound made visible. So all this sound made visible is just because I can stop all this geometry is just sound made visible. So if you want to record a message as a divine energy, you record it in geometry. So that's why we all light language, and it's like a message, a sound, an instruction. And I asked to Orion, okay, what is this message in these symbols? And they say are just few rules of balance. It's very simple, and it's all is one, so all is interconnected. All move together, and in order to move together, this must be like a breath of life. We have to have balance between these two polarities, these two energy. So the right is the balance in the middle, not too much to a side or too polarized to a side or to other. And that's all. That's what's written in all this mathematic geometry in the sky. And the funny thing is that they explained to me that every star beings that travel the sky, the space, have a deep reverence for Ra, not only Orion beings, because they know that this is the physical place where all our stars are born. So it's just like a mother energy, a divine feminine energy, union energy. In fact, they always represent with the 8, the infinite. It's emerged in the 14th dimension, like a vibe, the vibration that emanates from Ra. So all of these was like a channel, a channeling, a download that I received. But actually, we all have this information. It's just that maybe they activate mine, but I'm sure that when someone tries to connect with the nebula, it cannot feel evil energy, even though there are. I say this because when we did the conference for the different conferences for Portal to Ascension, a lot of the comments online were about the Orion Wars, why the evil energy. So in my memories, because I want to defend this star place, because you cannot hate a place. It's like hating a tree. I mean, it's a natural part of the universe. How can you spread such hate for a beautiful place where love and life and these suns born? So, of course, the hate has been spread by someone who didn't want us to remember that we are all connected.
That's it right there. That's exactly it. Now we are in a time of remembrance, and because of people like yourself, Laurienit, that can be able to share this message, I think is so important. Because one of the things we realize in the nature of humanity's awakening is there's been many lies and distortions of truth. And perhaps so much focus was on the negative aspect or the Orion Wars or things that we would hear. And it's about being able, because the other thing is anything that we push against or energetically we push against something, right? Anything that we push against, we're almost not only closing the door, but we're creating more energy around negativity in a way. But when we hear when the truth starts to come out, like what you're sharing, it starts to resonate with certain individuals, and we start to realize, oh, maybe we were told a story to keep us away from this information until now. Like now is the time for us to be able to now hear this. And I think everything that you shared is beautiful. I mean, it's definitely. I think we all have that nature of discernment in our hearts, and we can sense when something is will resonate the truth behind it. But a lot of things we've been told there's been a pattern of disinformation or distorted information, and now that truth is coming out, that 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 resonates with people and it helps awaken people.
Yeah, I think it's time.
It's time.
When I
Yeah.
wake up, I always remember that I sing in my awakenings. There's no time. There's no time. I remember to remember this, and I speak with other star seeds, and they always said we have to be fast. I don't know why, but the time is going faster and faster. So I decided, I know it's a bit tricky for someone, but I decided to utilize science, even though I'm not a scientist at all, even though
Yeah.
I'm more in artists and spiritual kind of energy. But because I think the information have to be delivered to everyone, so
Mhm.
even people from different configuration of mind needs to comprehend that there is no new age. It's fact. It's
Fast. Yeah.
quantum physics. It's science. It's scientific laws, like the law of entropy, that says everything that is empty must be filled,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
contrary. So everything must to find his balance. And I think we are like in a historical time
Yeah.
where, like, I think there every time in the history happens that there are like a point, okay, where something get to the most possible worst to then go back for the better, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining, but there is a law, scientific law, that says that when you have to be balanced between these two energy. So once a thing is coming to or completely opposite, has
Yeah.
to reverse and do the opposite again. So sorry my English, but what I'm trying to tell is that every worsening in the history always brings light and awakenings. So it's not a evil God that is judging or something
Yeah.
like that. It's just a natural intelligence
Yeah.
of this universe, divine energy of this universe that is intelligent, that regulates itself. And what is unbalanced must be balanced. And so this is how it regulates itself. And maybe if we know these rules, we can suffer less. That's why Orion tried to help us as a guardians to be guardians of these rules of balance, because they always says if we remember these few rules, a lot of suffering would be disappear.
Yeah.
So
That makes
these
sense.
few rules that if someone knows can have responsibility for what brings to the world, you know.
Yeah.
So we are responsible to the energy we brings
Yeah.
we bring in the. I don't know if it makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And also, what you shared is very similar to what are called hermetic principles. So, yeah. So, all is one, right? The one mind or whatever, all is one. And then the principle of polarity and the balance between the opposites. So there's so much relative to that. Everything is vibration, I think was another one, but basically, like you shared, if people understand these basic principles, it does end suffering. It does help us at least manage our life and understand the nature of life a little better, so we become more acceptance of our truth and less
Yeah.
traumatized. And we can't be in this in a victim state. So yeah, very liberating.
I hope to be sorry for my English. I try to explain because it's difficult to explain in Italy, but in English it's a whole new level of challenge.
You did perfect. It was perfect. I really appreciate your time, Laurienit. This has been great. I know anybody who is interested in following you, you're on Instagram, so I will share your Instagram information below the video in YouTube. And
Thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate your time. Is there
Thank you.
any last words you want to share or anything else?
Yeah, I think we have to choose every day
Mhm,
who we want to be. So every day we have to confirm who we are. So
mhm,
I've met so many star seeds or people who are in the path of awakenings that know everything, but maybe get lost in the ego. But I personally think that the most beautiful thing is just be and not knowing so much, but just be your
mhm,
authentic self and try to confirm every day that you are choosing light, you know? Every
mhm,
day is a confirmation. So it's not that you decided one day you are a being of light and then every day you will be perfect and you can do whatever. It's just a constant work on yourself and to help with the confusion about the information that is coming from different contactees. Um, the most useful thing I I learned by Orion is that sometimes the channelings is real,
mhm,
but sometimes if you don't clean the channel, you can misinterpret with your limited belief or
mhm,
dogmas or religions. That's why there is such a division, not because the beings are telling us different things, but because the channeler or the psychic have to do a constant work before being able to go out there and deliver the message to the public. You
mhm.
have to be sure that you have you have done the shadow work. So
Yep.
that's a necessary part. So that's why sometimes some people speak about certain entities and some people, of course, there are different kind of beings, but sometimes you can discern when an information is true because it speaks of
Mhm,
oneness. It's not division. And when you say, oh, there is this commander of the ship and have this role, and you were the pharaoh and you were in the other life, and they never tell you who you were in the other life.
yeah.
You can remember, they can tell you yes, but it's very difficult that they feed your ego. So it's against those laws that they protect. So if you want to know if the beings you're in contact are good or not, you have to check if they are interfering with your path,
Mhm.
you know, or they are letting you live your life.
Nice.
Some
Nice.
okay, so
Beau-
that's
yeah, beautifully said. I really appreciate that. And that's a good ending. And I think what we'll do is we'll have you back on again in the future, but I really, really appreciate your time. It's been an honor to hear not only your story, but the information that you shared about Orion, as well as these last words too. Lorena, thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
Rob.
bye.